100.7 FM, the pride of the people.
A beautiful morning to you and welcome to another edition of In the Papers, the program where we present and discuss major headlines from newspapers within and outside Nigeria. I am INIOLUWA ADEKOYA and with me is
Florence IBHAREMAN.
This morning I will be reviewing headlines from the Herb newspaper, the Punch newspaper and the Nation newspaper, while my colleague will take us through headlines from
Tribune newspaper. We have the Daily Post newspaper and This Day newspaper.
We will take a short break. When we return, we will go straight into our first set of headlines. Glad to have you back. We will now proceed straight into our first set of headlines, beginning from the Herb newspaper. ORANGHIS target 1 million healthcare subscribers ahead 2027.
And from the Guardian newspaper, I have Ayedatiwa hails Supreme Court judgment on victory.
Still on the Herb newspaper, talking Ekiti 2026 massive support, proof of Oyebanjo's acceptance, says Abe.
And still on the Guardian newspaper, where I have a story from Osun State, Osun PDP wants suspicious letter on local government funds, case probed.
Now I take a flight into the Punch newspaper, talking emergency rule, uncertainty in rivers as Fubara delays return.
And straight to Daily Post, where I have court stops Edo government EDSIEC from conducting local government bar elections.
Still on the Punch newspaper, Motfwang pledges justice for 11,749 Plateau massacre victims.
And still on Daily Post, where I have parents of children allegedly abducted by Naptiv cry out, demand DNA tests.
Still on the Punch newspaper, Okpebolo seeks federal government intervention in Edo Delta boundary dispute.
And straight to the Hope newspaper, where I have Ekiti First Lady flags off a direct training program.
Still on the Punch newspaper, Tinubu Songwolu mourns victims of Afri land building fire.
And still on the Hope newspaper, where I have educationist caution students against social media addiction.
On the Punch newspaper, federal government may issue 585.8 billion naira pension bond, says Pencom.
And straight to Ogun from the Guardian newspaper, where I have Ogun community decries state government stoppage of federal road intervention project.
On the Punch newspaper, NIS raises daily passport production from 300 to 5,000.
And straight to the Tribune newspaper, where I have Senate to extend capital component of 2024 budget till December 2025.
Moving on to the Nation newspaper, court stops Saturday's councillorship by election in Edo.
And still on the Nation newspaper, where I have NBA to Akpabio. Pendency of suits can stop Natasha's Senate returns.
On the Nation newspaper, Wike replies Tambuwal over leadership comment.
And still on this day, where I have Senate urge FCT doctors to end strike vows swift actions on demand.
And finally, still on the Nation newspaper, talking 2025 budget, Senate asks seek withdrawal of contract circulars.
And lastly, from my end, from the Punch, where I have Obi to name party for presidential bid in November ally.
And with that, we will take a short break. When we return, we will bring you the rest of the news making the headlines in the papers.
You're welcome back. You're still listening to iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is In the Papers, a newspaper review program where we'll bring to you stories from across and outside Nigeria from various newspapers. And with me from the Guardian newspaper, where I have Ayedatiwa hails Supreme Court judgment on victory. Now the details. The Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has vowed to focus on governance of the state following the decision of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), the November 16, 2024 governorship election, Agbola Ajayi, to withdraw his appeal at the Supreme Court. According to Ayedatiwa, who spoke through the Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Idowu Ajanokum, the affirmation of his victory by the Apex Court has brought to an end and all litigations arising from the governorship elections. The governor, while hailing Ajayi for his spirit of sportsmanship, appreciated President Bola Tinubu and the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Professor Yetawada, for their support. Ayedatiwa, who urged all political stakeholders to join hands with his administration in the collective task of building a greater state, maintained that his administration is determined to deliver on the promises made during the campaign. For details of this story, see the Guardian newspaper with the headline, Ayedatiwa hails Supreme Court's judgment on victory.
On the Oak newspaper, ORANGHIS targets 1 million healthcare subscribers ahead 2027. And now the details. The Ondo State Health Insurance Scheme has set a bold target of enrolling 1 million residents by 2027 as part of efforts to expand access to healthcare across the state. The Director General of Ondo State Contributory Health Commission, Dr. Abiodun Oyenei, disclosed this in a courtesy visit to the Owena Press Limited publishers of the old titles. Oyenei, who revealed that the Commission is not owing any facility in its 6 years of operation, admitted that it had yet to reach its desired coverage, maintaining that steady efforts were underway to expand enrollment and strengthen service delivery. The DG assured that Commission continues to engage hospitals and ensure prompt payment, stressing that government can do business and do it well. He appealed to stakeholders to join hands with the Commission to promote its program in order to meet the 1 million enrollment target by 2027. For more details on that story, check the Oak newspaper with the headline, ORANGHIS targets 1 million healthcare subscribers ahead 2027.
And still on the Hope newspaper, where I have educationists caution students against social media addiction. Now the details. An educationist, Elder Joseph Babatunde, has cautioned students against the danger of addiction to social media, even as he outlined its numerous benefits in today's world. Babatunde, a retired principal with 35 years of teaching experience, in an interview explained that social media, when properly used, keeps students updated on virtually any subject from global experience to specialized academic field. According to him, what students require is adequate orientation on the importance of the advantage of social media. He listed some of the benefits include access to instant information, improved communication and collaboration, increased student engagement, personal branding and career growth, global connectivity, as well as opportunity in business and marketing. However, Abatunde warned that inappropriate use of social media among students has given rise to certain psychological and behavioral patterns. For details of the story, see the newspaper with the headline Educationists caution students against social media addiction.
Still on the old newspaper, talking Ekiti 2026. Massive support proof of Oyebanji's acceptances, says AIDS. And now the details. Special advisor to the Ekiti state government on information, retired Honorable Taiwo Olatubosun, has attributed the massive support for Governor Biodun Oyebanji with an impressive turnout of people during the submission of Governor's nomination form to his total acceptance by the strata of the state for the second term in office. Speaking in Ado Ekiti, while featuring on a live program with the Chief Press Secretary, Mr. Yinka Oyebode, Olatubosun said the turnout was a reflection of the absolute and unreserved acceptance of the governor for the continuation of his good works, rapid development, accountability, and inclusive governance, where all members of the society participate in and influence decision-making process. Governor Oyebanji was accompanied by the unprecedented huge number of states and national leaders, elected officers, and critical stakeholders in the state in a massive display of support when he submitted his nomination form for the 2026 governorship election in the state at the National Secretariat of the All Progressive Congress in Abuja last week. For more details on that story, see the old newspaper with the headline Massive Support Proof of Oyebanji's Acceptance, says AIDS.
And still on the Guardian newspaper, where I have Oshun PDP wants one suspicious letter on local government funds, case probed. Now the details. As the crisis rocking local government administration in Osun State lingers, the Osun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party PDP has called on the Chief Justice of the Federal High Court to probe the circumstances surrounding the controversial letter dated September 2nd, 2025, allegedly issued from his office in connection with a stalemate at the third tier of governance in the state. The letter purportedly directed that a case before a vacation judge be heard by the judge substantive even after the vacation. Earlier, the Osun State chapter of the All Progressive Congress APC had accused the statesman of the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC, Christopher, of promoting labor unrest in the state. According to the major opposition party, by addressing the press conference in Osogbo yesterday on the ongoing legal tussle, the state PDP chairman, Sunday BC, said the letter was signed not by the judge but by an unidentified individual on behalf of the personal aide of a chief judge. He described the letter and its circumstances as bizarre and unprecedented abuse of judicial process. According to the PDP, the suspicious letter was written even though no party before the court had applied for such a transfer. The party also alleged that the letter may be may be backdated to achieve a political end, warning that such actions, if confirmed, would amount to grievous injury on the national judicial integrity. For details of the story, see the Guardian newspaper with the headline Osun PDP wants suspicious letter on local government phone case probed.
And now I take a flight into the Punch newspaper with this headline, talking emergency rule. Uncertainty in Rivers as Fubara delays return. And now the details. Thousands of supporters who had thronged Government House, Port Harcourt, recently to welcome the reinstated Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, went home disappointed after he failed to appear. Fubara was scheduled to resume duties as the governor of Rivers State yesterday, following the end of the 6-month emergency rule imposed on the state by President Bola Tinubu on March 18th. This comes after the president recently announced an end to the emergency rule, which ended the 6-month tenure of ex-naval chief Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as Rivers sole administrator. An aide to the governor, who spoke on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to speak on the matter, said Fubara was in Abuja but would return today. For more details on that story, the Punch newspaper has it with the headline Uncertainty in Rivers as Fubara delays return.
And still have the Hope newspaper, where I have Ekiti First Lady flags off a direct training program. Now the details. The wife of the Ekiti State Governor, Dr. Olayemi Oyebanji, has charged beneficiaries of the ongoing direct training program in the state to maximize their full potentials by embracing the initiative with passion in order to be able to compete favorably on the global stage. She gave the charge while flagging off the training of another batch of trainees under the program at the Adire Ekiti hub along Iworoko Road in Ado Ekiti. She reiterated the commitment of the government and stakeholders to support initiatives that empower citizens, strengthening the culture, economy, and position Ekiti as a hub of creativity and innovation. The wife of the governor, who is also the convener of the Adire Ekiti initiative, acknowledged the partnership of Senator Cyril Fashuyi, who is sponsoring 35 trainees, and the permanent secretary of the Federal Ministry of Works, Mr. Olufunsho Adebi, who is sponsoring 100 trainees. She described the contribution as an investment in people that will yield dividends for the 135 participants and the state at large. The Adire training program is another remarkable step in our mission to empower our people and preserve our cherished cultural heritage. It is my personal initiative born out of passion to uplift our people through creativity and culture, she stated. For details of the story, see the Hope newspaper with the headline Ekiti First Lady flags off our direct training program.
Still on the Punch newspaper, Muftwang pledges justice for 11,748 Plateau massacre victims. Onto the details. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has pledged to implement the recommendation of the fact-finding committee on incessant attacks, killings, and destruction in the state. The governor gave the assurance while hosting members of the Nigerian Guild of Editors at the Rayfield Government House in Jos recently. Recent reports that Mutfwang had in May 2025 inaugurated a 10-member panel to unravel the cause of the incessant violence in Plateau and determine the number of affected communities and victims since 2001. Submitting its report recently, the committee disclosed that no fewer than 120 communities across 13 local government areas had been attacked between 2001 and 2005, with more than 11,749 people killed. For more details on that story, the Punch newspaper has it with the headline, Mufwang pledges justice for 11,749 Plateau massacre victims.
You're still listening to iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is In the Papers. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue the rest of the stories. Glad to have you back. You're still listening to In the Papers on iPower 102.7 FM. And straight to Daily Post newspaper, where I have parents of children allegedly abducted by NAPTIP cry out, demand DNA tests. Now, the details. The parents whose children were allegedly trafficked by the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, have cried out for help. Daily Post reports that popular Nigerian actor and activist Stanley On Top accused NAPTIP of abducting 8 children from Happy Home Orphanage in Asaba, Delta State without formal documentation since June 15, 2025. According to the actor further alleged that NAPTIP moved the children to Nasarawa Orphanage Home in Kano State, changed their names, and converted them to Islam. In response to the allegation, on Tuesday, NAPTIP claimed the children were stolen from Kano and taken to Asaba between 2017 and 2022. Reacting to NAPTIP's claim, the parents of children in the video shared by Stanley On Top on Wednesday called out for DNA testing. Speaking in the viral video, one Mrs. Favor said, "I am a worker here at Happy Home Orphanage. I lost my husband on April 9 and did a burial on May 16, 2025. I have 3 children and my husband's family abandoned us. So I came here for help and I was employed here as a cook in June this year." For details of this story, see the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, "Parents of children allegedly abducted by NAPTIP cry out, demands DNA tests."
Still on the Punch newspaper, Tinubu Sanwo-Olu mourn victims of the Afriland building fire. And now the details. President Bola Tinubu and the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu have extended condolences to the families of victims of the fire incident that broke out at Afriland building on Broad Street, Lagos Island, killing several people and injuring others. Tinubu also sympathized with the Federal Inland Revenue Services, the United Bank of Africa PLC, and the Afriland Properties Limited, which had offices in the building. The inferno, which swept through parts of the commercial high-rise on Tuesday, drew a large emergency response, including the Federal Fire Service medical team and volunteers who helped with evacuation. Tinubu commended what he called a quick intervention and urged more caution, training, and alertness to avert such emergencies in the future. On his part, Sanwo-Olu, in a statement issued by his special advisor on media and publicity, Boyega Akosile, sympathized with immediate families, organization, and Lagosians who lost their lives, loved ones, and goods in the Tuesday fire outbreak. The governor would describe the fire outbreak as unfortunate, said he was shocked by the ugly incident that claimed the lives of people and destroyed properties. He pledged the government continued support for further prevention and arrest of such ugly incident. For more details on that story, the Punch newspaper has it with the headline, Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu mourns victims of Afriland building fire.
And straight to the Guardian newspaper, where I have Ogun community decries state government stoppage of federal road intervention. Now the details. Residents of the Shagamu have chided the Ogun state government for allegedly stopping the ongoing federal government road project approved under President Bola Tinubu's administration. The Padi Arikawe Oyegbimo Road reconstruction, awarded by Presidency to Mini and Toye Nigeria Limited and facilitated by Senator Benga Daniels, was abruptly halted by the Ogun State Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. But in a letter signed by the Ministry Permanent Secretary, Dr. Yusuf L.O., the contractor was directed to suspend operations immediately on the grounds that necessary permits and clearance were not obtained from the state government before commencement. The letter further said that the presidency action negates the normal due process that ought to be followed before commencing work on the state government road. However, the decision has sparked outrage in Shagamu, where residents accuse the state government of pettiness and insensitivity. But speaking on development, a media aide to the former governor, Steve Oluyede, said that in recent times, 5 of Daniel's federal government intervention has been stopped by the state based on flimsy excuses. For details, see the Guardian newspaper with the headline, Ogun community decries state government stoppage of federal road intervention project.
Still on the Punch newspaper, federal government may issue 758 billion naira pension bond, says Pencom. And now the details. The federal government may issue a 758 billion bond before the first week of October to clear outstanding pension liabilities, the National Pension Commission has disclosed. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja recently, the Director of Contribution and Bond Redemption Department at Pencom, Usman Musa, explained that the process had already begun and was moving quickly following the approvals of the Federal Executive Council and National Assembly. In her address, the Director General of Pencom, Omolola Oloworaro, said the inauguration of the Pension Industry Leadership Council marked a historical milestone for the pension industry. She explained that the council was designed to provide collective leadership and coordination, similar to the bankers' committee in the financial system. She also confirmed that under the contributory pension scheme, retirees were receiving their benefits promptly, and noted that all arrears have been cleared. For more details on that story, the Punch newspaper has it with the headline, Federal government may issue 758 billion naira pension board, says Pencom.
And straight to Daily Post, where I have court stops Edo government or Edo State Independent Electoral Commission from conducting local government bar elections. Now the details. About 36 hours till the conduct of the by-election by the Edo State Independent Electoral Commission into 63 councillorship seats across 15 local government areas, the State High Court sitting in Benin City has restrained the Commission from conducting the election. Daily Post reports that Edo State Independent Electoral Commission had slated September 20, 2025 for the conduct of the by-election in the state. Justice Mary E. Itoli, seated as the vacation judge, granted the order on Tuesday, September 16, following an ex parte motion brought by the People's Democratic Party (PDP). The PDP, through its counsel Oluwole Osaze, Michael Ekwemuka, and P.W. Akweme, in suit B247M 2025, had prayed the court for leaving to apply for judicial review of the EDSIEC's decision to conduct by-elections to fill the councillorship position in affected ward. The party argued that the councillor's tenure remained valid until September 2026, making an attempt to declare their seat vacant unlawful. Justice Mary, in her ruling, held that the applicant has shown sufficient grounds for the court to intervene. For details, see the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Court Stops Edo State Governor EDSIEC from conducting local government by-elections.
Still on the Punch newspaper, NIS raises daily passport production from 300 to 5,000. And now the details. The Nigerian Immigration Service has boosted its daily passport production capacity from about 300 to 5,000 following a launch of the new centralized passport personalization center in Abuja. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubumi Tunjioju, who disclosed this during an inspection of the facility at the NIS headquarters, described the move as a major milestone in Nigeria's 62-year history of passport issuance. According to him, the old decentralized system relied on outdated machines and that could only produce between 250 and 300 passports daily. This new centralized system, however, now enables NIS to process 4,500 and 5,000 passports each day within just 5 to 4 hours of operation. He explained that for the first time since NIS was established in 1963, Nigerians now operate a centralized passport production system in line with global standards. The minister said the reform would improve uniformity, efficiency, and integrity of Nigerians' travel documents worldwide. For more details on that story, the Punch newspaper has it with the headline, NIS raises daily passport production from 300 to 5,000.
And straight to Tribune newspaper, where I have Senate to extend capital component of 2024 budget till December 2025. Now the details. Both chambers of the National Assembly have secured the understanding of the Ministry of Finance on the withdrawal of all circular already issued for contract awards in the 2025 fiscal year. With the development, the 23.9 trillion naira capital component of the entire 54.99 trillion naira 2025 budget will extend to the 2026 fiscal year. The decision to withdraw circular already issued for contract awards for the 2025 fiscal year by the executive was jointly taken by the Committee on Appropriation of both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Check revealed that the Committee on Appropriation of both chambers had a meeting on Tuesday with the economic team of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In attendance were the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, the Accountant General of the Federation, Samsudeen Ogunjimi, and the Director General of the Budget, Tanimu Jakubu. Before Thursday's meeting, the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation had similar meeting on Wednesday with the federal government's economic team on the same agenda on assessing the implementation of the 2024 and 2025 budget. For details, See Tribune newspaper with the headline Senate to extend capital component of 2024 budget till December 2025.
And with that, we will take a short break. When we return, we will bring you the rest of the news making the headlines in the papers. Don't go anywhere.
You're still listening to iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is in the papers. For contributions and comment on the headlines read and stories, you can reach us on 0816 552 4699. 0816 552 4699. And straight to the Tribune newspaper, where I have NBA to Akpabio. Pendency of suits cannot stop Natasha's Senate return. Now the details. Senate President Godswill Akpabio has again been reminded by the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) that it is illegal for him to use his office to prevent Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, PDP Kogi Central, from returning to the Senate after the expiration of a 6-month suspension. The NBA president, Afam Osigwe San, who said this, argued that notwithstanding the fact that the matter is before the court, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan should be allowed to return to the Senate since a suspension period has ended. If the suspension has ended, she can return, regardless of whether the Senate was right or wrong in suspending her. The Senate cannot use the pending appeal to deprive her of her seat once the actual suspension has ended. That is not a good position for the Senate to adopt. The Senate should act honorably and allow her resume so that constituents are not left unprecedented, while the court determines whether the Senate was justified in suspending her. The lapse of 6 months should allow her return, the NBA president stated. Natasha was suspended on 6 March after Senate plenary presided over the Akpabios adopted the report of its Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition Committee, which accused her of violating Senate rules by refusing to vacate her assigned seat. For details, see the Tribune newspaper with the headline NBA to Akpabio. Pendency of suits cannot stop Natasha Senate return.
And now moving on to the Nation newspaper. Court stops Saturday councillorship by election in Edo. And now the details. An High Court sitting in Benin City has stopped the Edo State Independent Electoral Commission from conducting by-election into 59 wards across the state. The Edo Assembly last month passed a resolution asking EDSIEC to conduct by-elections, saying elected councillors have abandoned their duties. Elections have been fixed for Saturday, September 20th. The restraining order was granted by Justice Mary Itusweli, sitting as a vacation judge, in an ex parte motion brought by the People's Democratic Party. For more details on that story, see the Nation newspaper with the headline, Court stops Saturday's councillorship by election in Edo.
And straight to this day newspaper, where I have Senate urge SCT doctors to return to end strike, vows swift actions on demand. Now the details. The Senate Committee on Federal Capital Territory FCT Area Council and Culinary Matters has appealed to the striking resident doctors in the FCT to suspend their ongoing industrial action pledging to intervene directly with the FCT minister on some weekend to address their grievances. During the emergency meeting held yesterday with leaders of the FCT chapter of the National Association of Resident Doctors (NAD), the committee, led by its Chairman Senator David Dimkuta, Taraba South, acknowledged the legitimacy of the doctors concerned and promised immediate engagement with relevant authorities. Dimkuta said, we are pleading with you, return to work and give us the opportunity to mediate. I will personally take up this matter with the minister tomorrow. Our people are suffering. We must act swiftly. The lawmakers stressed that the ongoing strike is taking a severe toll on patients, many of whom rely solely on public healthcare facilities in the capital. He commended the doctors for their patriotism in remaining in the country despite the worsened conditions and acknowledged that their demands are not selfish but aimed at strengthening the nation's crumbling health system. The doctor, led by National President Dr. Senate Oshundari, told the senator that the government's failure to meet previous commitments made after earlier strike actions had left them with no choice. Now, Oshundari argued that hospitals across the FCT remains under-equipped, putting patients at risk and increasing the burden on medical personnel. For details, see this day newspaper with the headline, Senate urge FCT doctors to end strikes, vow swift actions on demand.
To render your views on any of the stories read out to you, the number to call is 0816 552 4699. I repeat, 0816 552 4699. Still on the Nation newspaper, Wike replies Tambuwal over leadership comment. And now the details. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has fired back at the former Sokoto Governor, Aminu Tambuwal. Wike spoke during an appearance on Channel's television Politics Today program. He said, and I quote, "What do you mean by leadership and friendship? You cannot talk about leadership and ignore the person." He accused Tambuwal and Atiku Abubakar of political inconsistency. Wike alleged that Tambuwal had his eye on a Senate role if Atiku won the presidency. He said both men frequently switched political parties for personal gain. Tambuwal, appearing on the same program earlier in September, declared loyalty to Atiku over Wike. For more details on that story, check the Nation newspaper with the headline, Wike replies Tambuwal over leadership comments.
And straight to the Nation newspaper, where I have again NEC deters on state police deliberation adoption. Now the details. The National Economic Council NEC at its 152nd meeting in Abuja yesterday failed to deliberate on the creation of state police. The nation gathered that the issue, which many believe is central to addressing the national security, did not even feature on the meeting's agenda. It was reported that the matter was stepped down at the previous section. President Bola Tinubu has, in recent weeks, strongly signaled his support for state police, describing it as inevitable in his administration's security reforms. The security challenges that we are facing are insurmountable. Yes, we have porous borders. We inherited weaknesses that could have been addressed earlier. It is a challenge that must be fixed, and we are facing it. The president had said while hosting a delegation from Castilla State led by Governor ADEKOYA. In May 19, Northern governors formally endorsed a proposal for state police, citing the need for more effective, locally driven security management. For details, see the Nation's newspaper with the headline NEC details on state police deliberation adoption.
Still on the Nation newspaper, now talking 2025 budget. Senate House seeks withdrawal of contact circulars. And now the details. The National Assembly has called forth the withdrawal of all circulars already issued for contract awards in the 2025 fiscal year. It strongly indicated that the 23.9 trillion naira capital component of the 54.99 trillion naira 2025 budget will be extended to the 2026 fiscal year. Resolutions for withdrawal of the circulars already issued for contracts award for the 2025 fiscal year by the executive was jointly taken by the National Assembly Committee on Appropriation of both the Senate and the House of Representatives. The joint resolution followed the one taken by the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriations recently during an interactive session with the economic team of the federal government. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation, Senator Solomon Adeola, APC Ogun West, read the resolution of the joint committee during a session with the economic team. The two parties later went into closed-door session after the adoption of the resolution without any contrary opinions from any of the members of the economic team. For more details on that story, check the Nation newspaper with the headline Senate House seek withdrawal of contract circulars.
And still on the Nation newspaper, where I have democracy can strive without responsible visionary leaders, says Jega. Now the details. A former national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Atairu Jega, has said leadership, democracy, and national development are deeply interconnected concepts that shape the trajectory of progress and development of any nation. Jega stated this while delivering an address as the keynote speaker at the third hybrid annual national conference of the Department of Political Science of the Federal University, Zamfara State. The former INEC chairman noted that good leadership provides the vision and direction necessary for governance, while democracy offers a framework through which leaders are elected, held accountable, and guided by the will of the people. He said, and I quote, "When leadership and democracy function in harmony, they create an environment conducive to national progress and socio-economic development. Conversely, when in disharmony, they undermine governance, create the condition for authoritarian reversal, and block satisfaction of popular needs and aspiration of sustainable socio-economic development. Democracy system empowers citizens to participate in decision-making processes, ensuring that leaders in the governance processes focus on collective interests of citizens than the ambition of few." For details, see the Nation's newspaper with the headline, "Democracy cannot strive without responsible visionary leaders," says Jega.
And still on the Nation newspaper with this headline, Yusuf recruits 4,000 additional teachers. And now the details. Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State has recruited 4,315 former BESTA volunteer teachers into permanent and pensionable teaching service. This is contained in a statement issued by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Bato, today. The governor presented appointment letters to the newly recruited teachers at the Sani Abachi Indoor Stadium, where he urged them to uphold dedication, integrity, and character building in their pupils. For more details on that story, check the Nation newspaper with the headline, Yusuf recruits 4,000 additional teachers.
And lastly, from my end, from the Punch newspaper, where I have Obi to name party for presidential bid, November alive. The 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has begun high-level consultation ahead of a fresh bid for the presidency in 2027, with an announcement on his political platform expected in November. The Punch learned that Obi's recent meeting with former President Goodluck Jonathan in Abuja was to seek his support and dissuade him from joining the 2027 race. Multiple sources also noted that Obi later briefed President Olusegun Obasanjo on the outcome of the Jonathan's meeting while seeking his continued backing. A senior insider in the Obi's camp said the former Anambra governor is determined to run and is working to secure the endorsement of influential political figures. He said his meeting with Jonathan was to appeal to him not to run, but instead support him. He believed Jonathan's support would be a major boost for his chances. Afterwards, he met Obasanjo and briefed him on deepened consultation, the sources said. The ally added that Obi's official declaration in November would clarify whether he would remain in the Labour Party or switch to the African Democratic Congress, a coalition platform recently embraced by some of his supporters. For details, see the Punch newspaper with the headline, Obi to name party for presidential bid in November, says ally.
And with that story, we've come to the end of today's edition of In the Papers. We have taken you through major headlines from newspapers within and outside Nigeria, and we hope this review has kept you informed on the key issues shaping conversations today. Do stay tuned for more updates and programs coming your way shortly. On behalf of myself, INIOLUWA, ADEKOYA, and my colleague,
Florence IBHAREMAN,
many thanks to you for joining us today. Until next time, have a productive and pleasant day.
The best station in music news, sports, and entertainment. We are high-powered 102.7 FM, the pride of the people.